Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Wacky Wednesdays, where we talk about my top 5 of different things, like these different prompts that someone over on Goodreads, I'll have the Goodreads group linked down below. They come up with different prompts every Wednesday, and you can make a video or you can do a blog about whatever the top 5 is. So it's like Top 5 Wednesday, also known as Wacky Wednesday. I have not participated since March, and it is mid-May. See, here's the thing. I usually get the prompts for the month, and I film them all in one day, and then I can edit them slowly. Most of the time I don't edit these videos because, you know, it's like this really quick discussion video. But in April, like at the end of March, when the April prompts came out, I filmed them all in one day, and then I made a mistake. I thought that I had put all of the videos onto my drive, but I hadn't, and then I just deleted all of them. Then I felt like I get really down on myself sometimes when I make mistakes, because I'm human and everyone makes mistakes and all that good stuff. But apparently, like, my expectation of myself is like I'm not allowed to make mistakes, which is silly. And I know it sounds silly, but when I'm thinking it, it sounds good. And so I didn't have any. I think I had one video come up in April at the very beginning, and then I just stopped doing these, but because I was being hard on myself, which is like, whatever, it's very silly. So I do want to get back into doing these every Wednesday. So for May 11th, is it May 11th? No, that already passed. It's this upcoming Wednesday. It's currently Sunday. So whatever that is, I think it's the 12th. So the 13th is Monday, the 14th is Tuesday, the 15th. Is it the 15th? I think on May 15th, the prompt is to recommend books with time travel, or celebrate time travel somehow. So I'm using time travel very, very loosely because I'm not a sci-fi girly. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. However, I do like the Groundhog Day effect, and I do like contemporaries that play with time. But when I was looking for books to recommend to you that have the Groundhog Day effect, or that play with time in weird ways, I did not find any Groundhog Day effect books. And that's weird to me, because I really, really thought that I liked that trope. So I'm using this very loosely, and the first 2 books that I'm recommending to you are thrillers with a memory loss trope. So they kind of go into the future because they lost all that time. See how it's very loose? The other 3 are contemporaries that actually play with time in a cool way. But it's my channel, my rules. Sure, let's go with it. So the first one is a young adult thriller by Natalie D. Richards called 6 Months Later. And in this, you follow Chloe, who fell asleep in class, and when she wakes up, her life is completely turned upside down, and it's 6 months later, and she doesn't recognize anything about her life. So now she kind of has to team up with some unlikely friends and figure out what happened in the past 6 months. It is a young adult thriller, so it's kind of cheesy, kind of messy, but very much fun. So that's my first recommendation. My second recommendation is Stay Awake by Megan Golding. This one might be my favorite Megan Golding, and I feel like this one is very, very underrated. But you follow this girl named Liv, who wakes up in a cab. Yeah, in the back of a taxi. She's going back home in New York. When she gets to her apartment, there are strangers living in her apartment saying, no, we've lived here for 5 years. And she, has no memory of the past 5 years. So you have to kind of figure out what traumatic event happened that made her forget about her life, and where has she been for the past 5 years. And this was so addictive that I really just loved this. Changing gears a little is the 3 books that actually do play with time in a very smart way. So the first one, this one might be, you know what, this one's my favorite, so no, we'll come back. There's The Second Chance Year by Melissa Weisner. This follows Sadie, who is very down on her luck. She's been fired from her job. Her boyfriend, who she thought was going to propose to her, just dumped her. She's living on her brother's best friend's couch. And you see where this is going. Only it's not your typical brother's best friend romance. It's, she goes to this fair with her best friend, and there's a psychic there who's like, oh yeah, you can travel back in time a year, and she gets the second chance year to make all the right decisions. So she goes back in time a year, but everything is not all, she was gonna make different decisions and make sure that she was still with her boyfriend, that her dream job was still right there, and that her friendships were not on the rocks, and she was gonna be a better human. But things are not so black and white. You can't just go back and make different decisions and force the life that you thought you wanted. And it was great. Then I have Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. This one was so much fun. I absolutely fell in love with Una. So in this, you follow Una, who is turning 19, but instead of turning 19, when she wakes up, she is in her 52-year-old body, but she's 19 mentally. And there are friends and family along the way that know each year she's gonna, when she's 20 mentally, she's actually 47. And, she goes through her life in this very random order. But I really, really enjoyed Una because this book talks a lot about, if you were to meet your significant other and you were going through a nasty divorce, but you didn't know this person, you just knew that, they gave you this kind of terrible feeling, and all you do is fight, and it's just not really worth it. And you tell yourself that when you actually meet this person for the first time, because for you, you're meeting him for the first time, but you guys are going through a divorce. You've built this life together. You've done all the things, but you don't actually know who he is. So you know the story of how you met because, you know, you've been talking for that year. And then a couple years later, when you're mentally like 22 or 23, but you're in your 27-year-old body or whatever, and you meet this man for the first time, and he takes your breath away, and you get all the butterflies, and you feel the love that you had for him. Do you give it a shot even though you know it ends badly? You know that you're not going to end up together. You know that there's going to be a nasty divorce. Do you go for it knowing all that? Or do you just throw away that entire chapter of your life because it wasn't going well? And it was just beautiful. And the last one is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This one is kind of like The Second Chance Year by Melissa Wisner. These are very similar to each other, but This Spells Love follows Gemma, who gets dumped by her long-term boyfriend, and her aunt and her best friend are like, oh, let's put a hex. Let's do some kind of spell. So they do this spell, and basically it's like, oh, I want to redo that year of my life. And to seal the spell, she kisses her best friend. But before she goes to sleep, you know, they kind of confess that maybe there could have potentially been something more than just best friendships. And then she wakes up and it's the year before, and now she has to figure out like what she actually wants out of this life. And when she gets the chance to be with her best friend, is it really worth it? Sorry, that's my watch. Is it really worth it if it's gonna ruin one or both of their lives? And I know that sounds very, very cliche, but it's so cute. And like, I think that Gemma was very, very selfless, and that she was a rock star. And I really, even through the pain and everything that she was going through, I really adored her. So these are my like time travel-y type stories that I've really enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish top 5 Wednesdays, wacky Wednesdays, everything like that. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.